Well, you know what, guys? You know, the car rolls along, the window is wound down, and inside you see the coolest dude. Bling, tank top, Miami vibes, super cool sunglasses. The man puts his hand up and you're like, yo, give me a high vibe, baby. Your podcast for everything super. Welcome along to episode 3. I'm just Reliq, and alongside me, I've got two phenomenal gents. I've got the Train Whisperer, Mad Magical, and he might be A by name, but he is S rank in nature. It's Twin A, my friends. How are you doing?
Great. Life's good. I'm excited for this third podcast. It's been a blast so far. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. Magical? Cool. Okay. It's just going to be a different sound effect every episode. But how many things do you have in your house?
Oh, a lot.
With which a lot? Okay, we'll see.
Oh, a lot.
Get to like episode 20. We're starting to run out of things already. So a couple of admin things, really, before we dive into it. So first and foremost, thank you for the support, guys. Just genuinely, from the bottom of our hearts. I know I'll be speaking for Major as well, who's not here today. The response has been so cool to see hundreds of people coming along, liking the videos, commenting, subscribing for more. It really does mean the world to all of us who are involved with SUPERVIVE behind the scenes, and that will include future guests who y'all don't even know about, who maybe I don't even know about. It's just so cool to get into one spot and chat about one of our favorite games. So thank you so much. Please do keep it up. It's not just great for us and fulfills us, because it means that we're making you guys happy and giving you guys content to listen to. It's great for the game, ultimately, because the more exposure SUPERVIVE content has to the world, then the more people find out about SUPERVIVE, the more people play SUPERVIVE, and so on, so on. Speaking of SUPERVIVE content, I want to announce a little side project I'm going to be putting together called HIGH VIVE, which essentially is going to be 10 to 30 minute content slices for sections that we can't involve, or which we can't properly include on the podcast. We have a pretty set structure, bi-weekly. It's great for you guys because you know that you're getting regular content, but it does mean, of course, that sometimes, like with the SUPERVIVE 1.0 news, we won't be able to cover everything straight away. So what we're going to be doing with HIGH VIVE, therefore, is we might do developer interviews, player interviews, esports previews, or esports reviews in that little 10 to 30 minute chunk, so that you don't miss out on the content that you want to see for a week or two. We could get more stuff out onto the channel for you guys to enjoy, and it means when we do come around to the actual full HIGH VIVE podcast, it means that we can focus on the stuff which is truly what matters at that moment in time.
So Reliq, what you're telling me is you're taking the HIGH VIVE content and you're pushing it somewhere else, like Patrick, right?
No, actually, it's going to be here on the channel, same place, maybe same people. I say it's going to be mostly me, but if I can wrangle some of these lads in, then of course we will involve as many guests as possible. So yeah, it's watch out for that in the future. And yes, I will be cutting up the Abyssal Cup, and I will be posting it here as well. I know everyone's been asking about that. Thank you very much. Also, any sponsors, as long as it's not like AI Darth Vader, do better, by the way, Epic Games, then please feel free. We're more than happy to test your products on stream. Maybe Theorycraft coin? No, I'm kidding. Love you, Theorycraft. Right. Oh, yes. One final thing. Who was it? I wanted to get the comment. I was honestly prepared for this, and then I clicked away, and now I'm not prepared. There was a community question from the first episode, and I want to make sure that you do know that you are seeing comments. Who was it? Because they had a curious question of the pod submission. From Sunshine's Music. I apologize. I've seen your question. We're going to have a developer on the podcast to ask your question at some point in the future. So it's banked. Don't worry. I see you. We got it. Also, if you want to ask a curious question of the pod, drop it in the comments below. Just be sure to be like, oh, I want this to be the curious question. So I don't reply to it immediately and spoil the answer. Speaking of, ooh, what is it?
Dun, dun,
Here's your curious question, lads. If you were playing and I don't want to shout out anyone in particular on the subreddit, because it's the same sort of question, multiple. It's kind of like the Doomer threads, or it's kind of like the "Hey, I'm a new player" thread. There's a bunch of them. We love all of you equally. That's why we're not giving anyone special attention. If you were playing SUPERVIVE, gents, for the very first time, but with the knowledge of the scene that you have today, who would be your super sensei? Who would be the person that you go to learn the most about what SUPERVIVE is all about?
Okay, so I have an answer for this, and as usual, it's a two-parter. But first, I gotta ask, you've got HIGH VIVE, and you're missing the opportunity to call the other one the low vibe? Too slow.
It feels, I considered it, it does feel like suboptimal content. It's like, exactly, when you think low, when you think too low, it's too slow. And so it's like, that's why it's more of like a side eye, you know, like, ooh, what's that over there? Oh, more SUPERVIVE content, lovely.
And that's why we've got the brains, the brawn, and I'm Twin A. So
the heart twin.
Doubt. No, all the love. So to go back to Kyric's question of the pod, knowing what I know now, it's actually based off what happened to me during alpha. My answer for coaching is Aiden BY.
Ooh.
Because
that's a good one.
Yeah. And when you get to like the highest level competition, you're in scrims, you're in tournaments, you want to do VOD review, Aiden is still a good answer, as is Tom Kick. When it comes to coaching, like Tom is coaching like Moonlit Battlegrounds, I think, or setting up to, or at the very least Pine.
Multiple
teams, and those are the teams, and he's still coaching them. But to go back to Aiden, when it was still alpha, and we had it for like a few hours a weekend, once a month kind of thing, what I'd spend my time doing is watching some of your videos, Reliq, and some tournament matches, and my friends and I, our videos, to try and see like, okay, what can we learn because we don't have accesses? And Aiden popped in and gave us coaching, and that's when I found out back then that he was the person who coached other players. And so I know firsthand Aiden's ability to teach a beginner and convey very high level thought processes, but make it like so you can absorb it. He's very intelligent. He might know the most about the game of anybody that plays it. He has more hours in it at a competitive level, because if there's a tournament, region be darned, he is going to compete. And so yeah, my vote and my recommendation for anybody listening, Aiden BY.
That's a good one. That is a
That's
good one.
Shout.
See, I don't want to go with the obvious answers, because I feel like Tom Kick is one of the most obvious answers you can give. He's really knowledgeable about the game, has been doing a lot for the scene. You go over to NA, Lemur is going to be a big one as well. I got to give a huge shout out to them.
Oh, yeah.
But I also I kind of want to give shout outs to people who are doing like other things besides that. So it's like, when you're looking at like, especially organization, like we're trying to make sure that there are still these high elo lobbies that are constantly going on, like for NA and for EU, like Treadsy over for EU has been doing a lot, Sprokane as well. So big shout outs to both of them on what they do. Then NA, you have Dylan and you have Jang, who've been doing a lot of the legwork for the scene. But I guess that comes with playing the game a lot, knowing the scene more, as we were talking about. Like, if you're a newer player, that's not really going to be for you. Like, I just want to make sure I gave shout outs there. So it's like, if I'm going as like a newer, like for newer players, the content they should really be looking for, honestly, like the easy answers are the best ones for that reason, because they do a really good job of kind of like simplifying the game in a way that doesn't oversimplify it, but it teaches you how to play properly. So Tom Kick, Ryan Lemur are like the big ones that if you are newer to the scene, you're trying to learn the game, those are the content creators to really seek out.
I think it's lovely that you mentioned all of those other.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, there are so many really like, I don't know, sweet, lovely people in the community who are more than willing to explain the game. And even go so far as I was in the DGen hours able to tune into Parting's stream. He's streaming SUPERVIVE more regularly, and the guy is, you know, explaining this game to his community. You know, a lot of people coming from StarCraft 2 particularly who were like, yo, what is this game?
By the way,
And
partings for Korean viewers, just so you know.
yes, I should. Yes, massive Korean creator. Like, honestly, just one of the biggest out there, which is why it is such a huge thing that he is playing SUPERVIVE regularly. I am still awaiting the Korean domination of this scene. We saw that Asia Arena tournament, and I know that NA was playing on ping, but oh my.
Not gonna lie, can I just interrupt you, Reliq, and just say, like, the Korean scene, the Chinese scene, like the little I've just witnessed from that Asia Pacific Arena Cup, I'm just like, damn, they got hands.
Different gravy. It's different gravy.
Like,
it's
oh
like,
my goodness.
It's like if Brazil turned up to 11. Like, Brazil is there for the vibes. They're there to fight for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Asia's there to fight because they know that they're going to beat you. And beat you well, and it's really, really scary. But I think so. Shout out to Parting and to the likes of Cinnamon as well over in Japan, who are doing so much to just spread the word. I also want to give a shout out to Zodak. This is kind of like a left field choice, but Zodag putting together all of these highlights in of itself is showing you all of these different streamers and content creators who you can find out there on the internet yourself and who you can learn from. I think for me personally, if I was a new person to the scene, if I'm looking at patch reviews and if I'm looking at game updates, I want to give a shout out to our boy Zikaric, who we did try to get on this podcast. I think Zik does amazing work, just going really in depth on everything, how it could affect the meta when it comes to balance changes, personal thoughts on content. Really insightful, really lovely dude. Go subscribe to him on Zik's SUPERVIVE, I believe it is, on YouTube. Yep. But then I am going to also default to the rather obvious answer of Ryan Lima. I think that Lima is a paladin, a bastion for SUPERVIVE the scene. And it's not just because he is a bloody good SUPERVIVE player and has been one of the best in the scene since Loki days. I think that his personality is so that he is such an unapproachable guy, and he still gets so much whimsy and joy out of SUPERVIVE. It's infectious. The dude isn't just on the grind because he wants to be the best player. He wants to figure out, yo, these powers sound funny together. Let's see if we can do something cool with it. And that sandbox mentality, just, it harkens back to, and I know there's been a lot of discussion in the Discord about Project Loki versus SUPERVIVE and the loss of this quote-unquote sandbox gameplay. Lima shows it's still alive and well. You know, maybe less pushed to the forefront than it was previously as it becomes a more refined product in the aim of garnering a more secure player base. But it is still there, and it is championed by this man who streams very late. So even if you are an Aussie or an EU guy, maybe in the early hours of the morning, you'll be able to catch Ryan Lima. So that's those are my picks. Honestly,
I'll say, Reliq, I liked your shout outs though to like the other scenes outside of just EU NA, because obviously you know we're gonna be like more focused on like the English side of things, but like Parting has been doing a lot over for like Korea especially. So like,
Mr. Sue as well.
Mr. Sue. Mr. Sue. Frosty, who is the one who organized the tournament for the Arena Cup, doing a lot of work there. So shout outs to a lot of people out there. And I like this is kind of going backwards now, going back over to like what we were talking about with like the organizing here for like NA and EU. I did the Carbine cookout not too long ago, and that was a success. That was a lot of fun. A lot of the players like that, but I also tried to open it up not just like experienced players, but to newer players too. And we did have some newer signups for that one, and they said they felt very welcomed in the community because there were other teams and players who actually reached out to them afterwards and say, hey, we realize you're new and we saw you. You did great. Don't worry about like the placement for this one. You know, we've been playing a lot more. Do you want to practice more and we can teach you some more stuff? Like, so shout out to Kind Captain and to the Ramus enjoyers out there, because they were that new team that came and signed up from Reddit to play in that one. and they did a hell of a job. They tried their best, and I think they did learn a lot. And like I said, the community, from what they told me, were reaching out to them and really helping them feel welcomed.
With one of the coolest Felix moments, which got you to swear on stream
Mhm.
in front of your entire family, which
I
mean that was amazing. That was quality content. Quite frankly.
you know it's good content when I forget my family's there. I swear on broadcast, and I look over, and they're just looking at me like.
I was gonna say, like, I saw the look of fear in your face, made it even better. Honestly, made it even. It was amazing stuff. And shout out to those NA teams. You remind me, I should absolutely post about Abyssal Cup on the Reddit as well. Fingers crossed, we'll see Kind Captain and crew making a jump there as well. Maybe they'll be interested, or not so interested perhaps, in playing Hudson. Now, we will go into the patch in a bit more detail thereafter, but I think that Hudson is sort of like the star, like the headline act of this patch. The first of many, which is not going to include any new content whatsoever. It is purely focused on the game and putting it into a state which will be good for 1.0. We'll talk more about the overall vision in a little bit, but let's focus in then on this Hudson flavor text that they have provided in the patch notes. A mini rework, they call, worth noting, the second rework that Hudson has received in less than a year. Hudson has historically been one of the most frustrating hunters to fight against, while also not really having the tools to live up to that turret gun gameplay fantasy. This mini rework adjusts all of Hudson's abilities in small but meaningful ways, while adjusting several stats and giving him quality of life changes to help him feel better in more combat situations. In the end, it should feel like Hudson can put up a better fight at close range, can really live that suppressing fire dream when set up properly, and should ideally have more intuitive ways to play against. What they've done is they have nerfed Hudson into the ground effectively. I'm imagining that they are going to buff him again, but in the short term, lads, Hudson has been removed from the public eye. Like, not literally, of course, but certainly when it comes to like ranked and competitive, Hudson is definitely in a place right now.
Like, I'm probably the best person to talk about this, right? Because I am the Hudson player.
You are indeed the Hudson main. Go on. And
I will say, this is going to be controversial to a lot of Hudson mates. I think this is a good mini rework.
I agree.
Because now it gives more defined ways of how this gameplay should be played and easier ways to buff the hunter as opposed to previously. Where before, it felt like if he was even slightly too strong, he was oppressing. And then when too weak, doing nothing, just hitting you with pellet guns. Now it feels like there are ways, especially I like how it talks about the close range compared to the suppressing fire when set up. And that's going to take a little bit of getting used to for a lot of players because they're so used to just hold, like, for myself, I'm not going to lie, I've been used to that too. You hold down the 2 mouse buttons and you turn your brain off for most of the game. That's just how it's been for a while. And now there is going to be more thought. I can't just do that all the time. I could do it like 50% of the time. So I have to use like my brain for 50% of the game, which is a little bit better. And I like what they did with the alt as well. So a salvage hook now having that occasional reel in, that's actually going to make it a little bit easier for you to stick on to targets too. I think these are really good ways to take the hunter and make it so that now you're not just worried about like, okay, he's already got the spin barrels. Yeah, I got to get behind him, but it's still not going to be the easiest. And if you're a good Hudson player, you weren't just spin barreling the whole time. You'd let go. You'd be able to turn around pretty easily. Now there's that wind up. Now you have to be more cognizant about how your team is set up, which I think are smart. I think there are going to be things like one of the things they're probably going to have to buff his ability to turn a little bit faster. It's really slow right now.
It's very
like
slow.
really slow. But honestly, these are very easy and definable parts of the kit that you can really focus on to fix and to give these buffs. As before, it was like, yeah, but if we give him that ability to spin more, now he's just going to be holding spin barrels even more and just going, whee, just getting everyone in a 360-degree circle. And now it's like, okay, we can give him a little bit more speed. So now he only has like access 90% range, like a 90% range, where it's still, you need to make sure you're set up. You have the team to then defend your flanks, and you're a little bit more smart about your callouts. So I like it.
So you said a phrase in there, and I'm really glad you did, because the first thing I thought of after reading the patch notes was you have to turn your brain on. You have to be a thinking Hudson. And that's not to say that Hudsons weren't thinking players.
No, they weren't.
No, because there's still.
I'm a
definitely some,
Hudson
but
player. I never turn my brain on.
Well, I just think back to like jokes and conversations in Madley's channel when he's
Oh,
playing on
Madley's
his
different.
dadly.
Madley also plays Jewel, so he has a brain.
Yeah. Well,
Twitch.tv
but
/Moldly, by the way.
Maldly,
It is Madley,
M-A-L-D-L-Y.
but it is Twitch.tv Moldly with an L in there.
Yes. But the joke was always like, oh man, to play Hudson, like it takes so much practice because it's a frame perfect combo of RMB into LMB. How do you consistently do it? That's so tough. And he's like, man, I just don't know, as he wipes a team. So I really like the direction this is going, because as Major Pleasure mentioned in the prior one, there's hunters that they're wanting to change to make them better for the player, make them more unique, standout, fun. I forget the exact phrasing he used. And so I like what they're doing with this. I liked the attempt to make you have to think and have to position accordingly. And you can't just, like, when you get your setup, you're at home, but you've got to earn that setup. I also really, really like what they did, giving him a short dash with a lower CD. Wonderful. I think Hudson can benefit from that. And I really like what they did with the barbed wire. I think the barbed wire is an amazing change. That might be like universally what Hudson mains appreciated about this change was what they did with barbed wire. So overall, I appreciate it. They kind of took like the overheat mechanic that Hudson used to have. And for those who don't know, if he held RMB too long or right mouse button too long, his overheat gauge would go up and it would just shut down after a little while. And he had to wait for it to more or less fix itself. And they kind of put that on the back end now, or on the front end, I mean, where it takes a minute to spin up. So you have to really think about your position. Is this when I want to commit to this? And I don't know. I really like it. I like these changes. I think it's a good direction.
You've put the golf ball on the tee for me there, Twin, genuinely, because that's exactly the direction I was going to go in. It feels like a more refined version of where Hudson should have gone the first time around. And I tend to look at Hudson before this patch as Hudson, and then the previous version as Gunner, which was the Project Loki name, of course, the hunter code name, the development name. And I was just like, man, you know, like part of the issue is that you're, especially in choke points like Scavenger's Bay, for example, there's no way that you're going to get around a Hudson, especially with an astute team that's going to be covering off his flank points with that damage multiplier from behind, which is part of the passive, of course. Like, you're just running into a mowing field, for want of a better phrase. And that's really frustrating, but I can also understand how frustrating it is to then have that power at your command, but it has to be managed with a cooldown when you have something like Ghost that can continue, like he has like a half-second reload and then you know, like it's continuous fire. So why does Ghost get that but Hudson doesn't, when Hudson also suffers with mobility issues? So this is a really nice middle ground, I think, where there is a very significant debuff on the turning circle. I do think that should be addressed. Like that's a little too harsh, but I do like that. Just a tiny bit. But then there's a little penalty for, right, you want to move more? You're coming out and you're on cooldown for that thing. And it's what I think a lot of the top players want to happen with Oath's shield as well.
That would be nice.
They want a penalty for, once you activate that shield, one of the most important part of Oath's kit, once you take it down or once it is broken, there has got to be a more significant period of time so that you can't just snap it back up because you realize you made a mistake or because you get third-partied. So although Hudson is not in a great place now numbers-wise, I think kit-wise, it is a significant improvement, and I would not be at all shocked to see Hudson buffs, if not next patch, then the patch after that, to better align him with what we see. Because to take an Apex Legends map, I think that this version of Hudson, and what Hudson was always meant to be as, was a corridor cleaner, was a controller. That is his role, with sort of like an overlook of a big area of land. You want that turret position to be well guarded. That's what you want a Hudson on your team for. If that Hudson has unlimited ammo, unlimited overcharge, and also Omnivamp built into the kit on top of that, by the way, which has been removed, thank goodness.
Oh, I'm sad.
Again, I know we memed a bit on outdated. I understand where he was coming from on the Hudson hate, because it really was, in the worst case scenarios, super oppressive.
Mm-hmm. I still remember when everyone thought he was bad before all the before playing him, and I'm like the only one playing him, and I'm like, wait, this guy's really good, and then they're like, no, he's not, and then everyone played him like, oh wait, he's really good. I'm like,
people just didn't know how to play against him, but also people just, I mean, this is why I respect just Asian esports communities so much, because they seem so much more willing to just throw themselves into the deep end of Hunter compositions. One of the most fascinating things is seeing how not prevalent Oath is in Asia scrims. It's wild. I mean, I think it is a mistake, actually. I think that Oath is an incredibly powerful Hunter, especially in trios, and it does still require nerfs, but it's just so much more interesting that Asia just doesn't care. It's, yeah. But
Can I just say that I like the idea of the Oath shield nerf, but they need to do that next patch. And this is my thought process behind it. Because everyone and their mothers will be complaining about it after it happens. Just like with Brawl. When Brawl got those first nerfs, like after he was like considered really overpowered, really oppressive, everyone said Brawl was terrible. Not just bad, not just nerf, terrible. Yeah. Very small compensation buffs were given afterwards, and everyone kind of forgot about that after a couple weeks. But it took a couple of weeks before people kind of like went past that and started picking up Brawl again, because everyone had been so used to a overbuffed, overly powerful Brawl that once you take away that power, you then feel weak because you've lost that overpowered kit. Oh, there's going to be a similar kind of case to that. So you want to get that done now before we get closer to full release. Just saying that now.
I mean, Twin, we've kind of, me and Magical have said where we want to see the buffs, but I mean, undeniably, Hudson is now due buffs. What part of the kit, where would you be looking at to address first to try and bring him back into, at the very least, like upper C, B tier?
I kind of think you both hit the nail on the head with just his turn radius being a little, kind of like slow motion, almost feeling like I only got to toy around with him for a little bit in practice, so I'm definitely not the subject matter expert in this regards, but it felt like almost trying to like waft through mud when trying to do it. It was like, this just feels a little sluggish, and I wish it had just a little more, but honestly, that's the only thing. And then probably it's such a delicate thing to do is when you increase damage a little bit, because it's a slippery slope of if you turn that dial a little too much, he's the most oppressive character in the game again, and it was all for naught. So I would say just like fine tune little things like the turn radius, like Magical mentioned, because the kit is fantastic. I love this kit change. So
an idea has just come to mind. Complete tangent. I love the idea of like a Willy Wonka, like mad confectionery style Hudson like skin, because when I think about slow turn radius, I think it's like trying to move in like treacle or molasses or something. And so imagine the treacle trooper Hudson with like sticky barbed wire toffee or like, stuff like that. I don't know. That feels like a very like weird
bubbles.
Relic thought. Just bubbles. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now opening up to what I like to affectionately call a more in-depth patch review than the most surface-level patch review in the West. Of course, we kind of skimmed over a lot of the Carbine patch the last time out, which, sorry, hope this makes up for it, as really there's not much other content to speak of. These patches are going to be the main focus for a lot of these podcasts going forward. And I think we'll first of all address what has been talked about already in 1.0. These patches are preparation specifically for that 1.0 launch. They're looking at systemic issues. They are looking at bug fixes. Interesting clarification, I guess. I think, myself included, we were looking at, well, they're going to be balancing the game a lot more. They've actually clarified in the patch, like pre-word that, or in like the foreword, that it's not actually going to be about balancing per se. If anything, balancing is going to be one of the last things that they do before 1.0. What we're looking at here are bug fixes, ensuring that the hunters feel as good as possible, the map looks as good as possible, that the game feels as good as possible, and that is including reworks, which I think maybe, rather than starting from the top actually, let's start with a bug fix on, I'm sure it was a bug fix on Jewel, like how Jewel works? Or am I just imagining
Oh yeah,
that?
no. Jewel did get some bug fixes with especially with her dash, where she felt like, where people are saying like it was just weird how it felt. Like every Jewel main was complaining about how it made her feel less like, you know, a crash of lightning and more like a cloud up in the sky just floating.
I think it was a hot fix potentially, but also I've gotten word that Jewel is feeling a lot better now after those changes, which is awesome. But speaking of Oath, Earth Shatter, subsequent hits after initial impact deal 50% less damage per hit. The thing I kept on seeing was, why aren't there serious nerfs to Oath? We've removed the bee hopping, we've nerfed the ultimate. There is still more to do, lads. Is there?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we already kind of discussed it with the shield. Like, in the day this patch went live, in the scrims, people were still pulling out the Oath, and Oath was still doing Oath things. Now, I did see moments where there was a match where Lemur was on Oath and ran into Heights Brawl, and if not for this nerf, Lemur would have won. He just ulted him in a really good spot. The health bar still was shredded down to almost nothing, but Brawl still lived. So I think this is, again, the right direction, but I feel like that's not a one-on-one that Oath should reasonably win. So I feel like there still needs to be some changes. What? I don't know. I like the shield idea that you both pitched, like a CD on shield if you pull it out just on a whim because you can. So and again, if you overcorrect, all of a sudden you've got a hunter that's just not going to get picked. So I don't mind the fact that they're like gradually bringing out these changes. I think it's a good start with this one, or good two starts with the bee hopping and with the ulti nerf.
Magical, the funniest thing I've seen said about this is that they actually want them to revert the damage because it feels like they've replaced Oath's hammer with like a rubber mallet that you'd give to a... They actually like the impact feeling that they get from the ultimate. GG's Theorycraft, try again next time. But I mean, in all honesty, do you sort of correlate with what Twin A is saying, in that this is a step in the right direction, like this nerf should have happened to Earth Shatter?
I feel like it's them dancing around the issue. I feel like that's really what it is. It's them saying that they're nerfing Oath, but it's also difficult because people have to also remember, for new players, Oath, and like, you look at Oath, you look at this goofy guy, he looks all big and stuff, and then you see that face, and you go, that's who I want to play. And that's how a lot of players are going to look at that as well. He fulfills a lot of the fantasy motif for a lot of newer players, which is someone who is good defensively, who can help with the team, can help defend, yet also feel impactful, such as things with their ult and how they're able to still do a decent amount of damage, how they can save the team with the heals from the hammer too. There are a lot of good things that will get a lot of new players to gravitate towards them. So in my opinion, that's why they're trying to like really take it slow when it comes to nerfing Oath a lot. But at some point, you gotta rip the band-aid off. You gotta do this before the full release, especially. Not like, and I'm not talking like a patch or two before full release. You gotta do it like a good month and a half before full release, because people are going to whine and complain about it for a while afterwards too, until everyone gets over it and realizes he's still good. So just get it done with, stop dancing around the issue, and give him some actual quantitative nerfs.
Honestly, Theorycraft will never win. You learn this as a TO. You'll never win
Mhm.
because there is always going to be somebody who hates what you've done.
That's why I say rip the Band-Aid off. Just get it done with.
It is the nature of the internet. And I also think it's worth nerfing him now to understand what is going too far. You don't want Hudson, like worst case scenario, Hudson level oath hitting. I have it on good authority that Hudson's win rate in ranked isn't actually that good, which is perhaps why they are hesitant to go ahead and nerf him. I think it's worth, I don't know, we won't get full access to it, but I think it'd be really worth diving into the data, first of all, to find out just how low or high that win rate is comparative to everyone else, and also see just how many people are playing Oath because they see just how strong he is in scrims and in tournaments. Because if you're inspired to play Oath because he's clearly the best character and the most picked character, then you're naturally going to have a lower win rate because people don't know how to play him. It's how people are extracting so much from his kit, which is why he has become, for the last year, one of the characters to have and to build your composition around. It's a jack of all trades. And the problem right now is that he is a master of all of them.
When you're like the most picked hunter, yes, your win rate's going to be bad because of the 12 teams, only one gets to win.
Well, exactly.
So,
yeah, exactly that, though.
That's a good
if
point.
he's on all
That's
12 teams, he's going to have, what is one
That's
divided
exactly
by
the point
12?
that I make. There's only one team that can win. And if 11
What
other
is that?
teams,
8%,
then that's
8%.
11 Oaths that aren't winning. So I definitely, that's why I'm saying it'd be really
So he's got an
interesting to
8%
dive
win rate
into...
then, if we do a 1 divided by 12. Yeah, 8.3333%.
Yeah,
win rate.
so it's like, that's why the data would be so interesting to just actually, I know we won't get access to it, but just to dive into truly how many people are genuinely playing Oath, in ranked in particular.
It also kind of makes me wonder, because you pointed out how many people see Oath played, or they're playing a ranked game and they see an Oath just absolutely going off and not realizing that, in my opinion, he's one of the most technical hunters available right now. Go into like the Oath portion of Discord, go into like Pod Racing's Twitch stream, and they're just talking about, this is hundreds of hours of playing and practicing with this hunter, because there's so many things to learn for so many different situations that it's not just hold my shield up, alt profit, we win. There's all these little nuanced micro techs that you need for this hunter. So I could see Oath having a low win rate, but it's like the low skill floor, extremely high ceiling, but you've got to earn it. It's just when you earn it, is it too much?
It's Theorycraft for real. Pull out the actual nerfs next time, please. Give us something to talk about. I mean, we have lots to talk about anyway, but give us something in like spicy, just to disrupt the meta a little bit. Because let me tell you, unless the patch is the patch the week of the recording or the week of the episode releasing, I think it is like pre-Abyssal Cup, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I'm expecting Oath to be banned in Abyssal Cup in the second half of day 2.
I was going to say, for clarification, second half.
Second half. It's literally just second day. No bans on the first day. We'll do the preview, I think, for the next podcast, and then we'll do a review in the side Vive. Let's talk about the Gremlin. Felix. He's been given more juice. It's not really made much of a difference in scrims, necessarily. I think this is a change that a lot of ranked Felixes, myself included, are very happy with, because it means that we just get to do more often, more fun, and hopefully more success.
No, I mean, I like it.
Oh, go ahead, Magical. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I like it.
No, really, it's one of those that it was very just depressing as a Felix, that you engage, you dive in, you burn your kit, pun intended, and all of a sudden you're out of mana and you're just kind of stuck there like, well, go team. I've got to hang out for 4 seconds and not do anything. So the fact that you can stay in the fight a little bit longer and have more say with the teams he engages and things like that, I love it. And I still think Felix is very largely slept on. there was some scrims the other day where the only Felix picked was Phenom, and he ran that lobby. He just ran over everybody. It was on site regardless of team or player. And he made Felix look like the single most oppressive hunter in this game. Because I think people just, I don't know. I don't know if their mindset or what it is. But so all this to say, I love these changes. I like just the simple mana rework to let him stay in the fight a little bit longer. Thank you, Theorycraft. I love this change.
Before you share your thoughts, Magical, allow me to just correct myself. When I say more juice, I think more accurately what I should have said is the juice goes further. Mana reductions on a bunch of ability uses, not more mana overall to utilize.
Yeah,
and
a CD.
Okay. So this is where I come in from my League of Legends background, and like having I get the magnifying glass when it comes to all the patches before back in League of Legends, because I would go through them and see what was meaningful, what was substantive. I can't speak.
Substantive.
Thank you. And
words.
Substantive. I can speak. And what actually mattered. And sometimes there would be buffs or nerfs that were in a lot of these patches that people would skip over, especially when it came to things like mana costs. Because people would look at that and be like, oh, they decreased, like, I just have it up in front of me. They decreased his RMB, his Flame Bolt, from 20 mana to 15 mana. Oh, that's 5 mana. That's not that big a deal. But then when you add them up over the course of a fight, that's where these start they start adding with one another, and you start realizing. So if that is a 25% reduction onto his mana cost when it comes to his RMB, that means that he now will get one more additional cast of that RMB in a fight for every 4 times he uses it, right? So he'll have 5 instead of the 4. He'll get that extra one for essentially the same mana cost. So it will be a lot better when it comes to that stuff. Then you look at other things such as his dash. That's a 50% mana cost. That's a lot less. He gets a dash a lot more often and feel a lot less punished for it, which is a big deal for Felix being able to get near people so he can use his flame shield. And then you get in the cooldown reduction that comes in that, where yes, you're only shaving off a second for a lot of these, but that's still a second less that you get. So instead of say out of 100 seconds, normally it would have been 10 casts of it. Now you get an additional 1 on top of that. So you'll have 11. And it will just be these small things that start adding up over the course of a fight that are really important, especially in a game like SUPERVIVE, where everything is decided based off of those inches. How many times do we cast fights where literally we had one from the Asia Pacific Cup with a Brawl v Brawl, where both brawls were down to 10 health. And eventually won. Zam was able to win that with barely anything. That's just how SUPERVIVE is. So when you have these, what seem like minor buffs for certain hunters, can end up being gigantic leaps forward for them, especially when you then spread that about throughout the entire kit like they did for Felix.
I'm going to add in perhaps an overlooked complication or just clarification, I think, maybe going forward as well, because mana in general has been one of those debatable things in SUPERVIVE. Does it really need it? Is it too complicated? Is it not complicated enough? Well, the very fact that we are getting mana cost adjustments in what is being deemed the end game towards 1.0 patch trailblazing run, to me says the mana is going to stay. The mana is not going to be adjusted from here on out. It's going to be the cost of the mana on individual hunters. And I think that's honestly, in a similar vein to what you were saying, Magical, about in terms of those controversial changes, do them now, let them settle before you move into 1.0. I think that we now have unequivocal evidence that mana is here to stay. It is going to be a part of SUPERVIVE 1.0. And unless there is a serious about turn thereafter, which I mean, we are presuming that SUPERVIVE succeeds and then succeeds for maybe 2 or 3 years. That is the first opportunity where I would see that reality being changed. So overall, thumbs up for the Felix changes. We like it. We love seeing the little rat. We know it's not a rat, but it's definitely a rat. Going on to do little bigger things. Shout out to Kai Zaro.
Yes.
A one-man arena army, getting an entire part of the patch to himself, getting into Unreal game development to hit up some community requests. And you two are more arena aficionados than I. But generally speaking, I've not seen a single bad word about these arena changes. It feels like it is hitting on a bunch of things that a bunch of people wanted.
No, for sure. Like it seems so subtle, but the very first line of these patch notes for arena, where it talks about spawning with green by default and then getting blue when you get it, that is an extra 5% damage reduction. That 5%, you talked, Magical, about the game of inches. This means that burst combo, there's now that chance that you stay in the fight a little bit longer. Arena fights are extended a little bit. They get to be more exciting. You get to have more say when that Bebo ults in with a B-bomb and bonks you, potentially. I really like this. Yeah, Kazaro, great job. And also getting rid of the Guardian Archangel is so nice, but who grabs the red chest in arena? Come on. Macro, really? In an arena game? Shame. But
okay, but that's also why I like the fact that, like, because in a lot of our other arena tournaments, the red chests had been banned by a lot of organizers, saying like they didn't want to have to deal with that. But then we saw in the Asia Pacific Arena Cup that red chest, when it was allowed, how game breaking it could be. And so Void, I think, was one of those things that kind of went up a lot in priority because of that, because of the ability to swap that out. So I do like that they touched on that. Like, you know what? Maybe that was a little bit bad. Let's get rid of that.
There's been several additional powers added to the chest, by the way. So they've not fully revealed it in the patch notes, but it does, I guess, add more to the RNG. I don't know whether that makes it more or less broken, though, as a option to have in arena.
Well, talking to the team captains who, for the original arena tournaments, voted to have it turned off, when I asked for their insight, they said it's because it becomes too oppressive. It takes away the comeback mechanic for the other team, or it doesn't obviously take it away completely, but it makes it so much more difficult. Versus without it, if you're down 4-0, there's still that chance. But if you're down 4-0 and they have Blink, at the time Red GA, all these things, it's like, well, this is a wash. Like, we've got to hope to bring it up or bring it back in losers bracket. So I don't mind when competition keeps it turned off, but I'm excited to see exactly what powers are in here, because I haven't had too much time to dive into arena since this patch went live. So I'm kind of curious.
So I'm just going to say none of that matters to me until they actually add bullet trains to arena as well. That's when I'll actually care about buffs and nerfs when it comes to arena. Give me bullet train in arena. That is all. I need that. Bullet trains everywhere. Add another track around the outer edge of the breach for the trains. Add connecting ones where you can switch the track. I don't care. I want more trains.
So how about this? What if you had to, because one of the meta is to cross the abyss to get a res off, have a train in the center on a track that you can't land on or something that's just like, all right, you want to go do this? Here's your Ninja Warrior obstacle course. Go get him, champ.
I was thinking just put like a train track around the individual island with a bullet train. So you do have that outer edge of the ring, you could say, to bounce off at your own peril. Like, I'm not even thinking a bullet train with just the front of the train. I'm thinking it's just the engine. Just the ram.
Yeah, there's no revives. There's no
revives. Exactly.
Just train.
Yeah.
Just train.
So just trains. Also, shout out to I don't know whether you read too much into this. We're not investing a lot of resources into arena. All eyes on 1.0. I don't know whether that means
more trains.
Maybe it means more trains. I don't know whether that means that they are going to be investing in Arena for 1.0, or whether Arena is being permanently sidelined because of 1.0. I hope it's the former. This game could really do with really strong alternate modes apart from Battle Royale. I mean, again, that's a pretty hot topic in the Discord right now of why can't we have alternate modes? So,
I kind of took it like this, which is more of the latter. Arena is in a solid place right now. People have fun with it as it is. Here's a couple quality of life changes. We need to focus on the meat and potatoes of the game, which is the Battle Royale, our trios. So that's what I take it as, is like, we're going to set Arena to the side. Not like, we remember it's there, but we can't play with it right now. We need to lock in over here. Keep our eyes on the road, if you would. So I don't think it's a bad thing for Arena. I just think they're saying, it's fine. It's good. It's in a healthy place. We're going to leave it alone.
Well, especially if Kaizaro is intending on doing more. I mean, literally, Kaizaro might just develop himself into a job at this point if he keeps on developing good updates.
Trains. Just
Let him
trains.
Kaizaro, you'll make him a very happy man. No joke. No joke. And then we get into bug fixes here. Fixed getting match made to the wrong region after leaving a custom game party. Thank you.
Oh, poor Tom Kick.
What a huge change. There is confirmation. The dual changes that we were talking about, they were in this patch. It's just under bug fixes. So it's how they applied the floaty state, in particular with how Surge interacts with environments. I've heard nothing but good things about that. Dual feeling a lot better, especially on top of the more snappy ultimate use from the last patch before. So I think Jewel going in a good place, although there might be more realm to rework potentially, so I hear. But I don't know. The B-bomb with Touch of Life bug has been fixed. Thank you. Orb of Argos blocking AoE spells has been fixed. Almost got banned from a tournament because of that, by the way. It was voted on by the players. Let's just keep it in. It was very much not intentional.
I need to go and see if this changed it. And I'm so sorry. I don't remember who told me this, but shout outs to you, bro. I didn't realize that Eva's orbs could actually block lasers, remote lasers, stuff like that. That whole area, she could just walk through so casually. And that, I don't know, that little tiny fact, I'm like, that's terrifying. So I'm glad they're at least
on top of the buffs as well.
Yeah. Yeah, she's scary. I love her.
I know Carbine had a weird one where they were using their dev name.
Bounty Hunter.
In several locations. It's Farshot, Like
Farshot.
Not even Bounty Hunter, like literally the code name, dev name was Hudson's barbed wire could no longer block aiming lasers. I appreciate that they've put this in bug fixes and not just under the rework. They're admitting to the mistake, which again, shout out for being honest about that, to be quite frank.
We like integrity.
I know that, so we've referenced Brocane. I know that he's very upset there's not been more bug fixes to Saros. That dude is infested right now. And it is such a shame because especially what we're seeing with Saros at the moment, it could legitimately have a place in the meta when used effectively, but people just don't want to use him because they don't know what they're going to get.
It's like the portal sometimes working. The gun jamming. There's a lot of things. Like sometimes I've even seen when he uses his Q and gets the detonation off that it doesn't properly proc his passive afterwards. So then he's like, you're expecting to be able to do all this stuff, and you're like, I guess not. That's cool.
I guess, I guess it's cool. You know, we wait with bated breath about a lot of these future patches, and I think it's a good time, therefore, to just sidle into just a more wider perspective of everything. Like, this is supposedly the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot of bugs to squash. There's more reworks to come. And then on top of all that, you've got balance. And on top of all that, Theocraft is also heads down making content that we're not going to see for a while, or that the wider audience is not going to see for a while. We know that there will be NDA tests, and so there will be some advanced viewing and testing of whatever new features or whatnot they're going to put in the game. But I think asking for patience from a group of people who range from more than willing to give Theocraft time and understanding that it's a beta to this game is live, it is a live service, stop coping, this is not a beta anymore. I think it's very difficult, really, to ask Theorycraft to do anything but just focus on themselves and keep on doing what they're doing. I like what they've done in the Discord, for example, where they are now basically annexing what used to be the feedback channel, and now they are releasing a patch channel every time saying, throw bugs at us. What do we need to fix? And that thing was flooded within 24 hours. And that is honestly some of, I would argue, the best feedback that Theorycraft has received in one concentrated place in maybe a solid year since alpha testing.
Though I know we shouldn't be asking them for something, but I am going to ask them for something. Make it so bullet trains are faster when they kill people, please. I need this. You don't understand how bad I need this in the game. I want this, and that it just needs it needs to be in the game, please.
You know what? I'd like to actually add an addendum onto that. I would like, and I know I've talked in the past about Kobayashis and the possibilities that you can, for example, could you pay off the guards during daytime if you have, that was because we had a Kobayashi circle very early on. And it was comical. It was really funny. But I'm like, yo, wouldn't it be cool if you could just, like, if you had enough money, you could pay off the guards at an opportune time to get, wouldn't it be cool if you could also pay to reverse the direction of the train? I mean, I've got all of these Kobayashi's ideas, folks. I've been thinking on this for a while.
Dash dancing inside of Kobe's.
Yeah.
I need to get this out there. One day, I hope that they develop or people start making like bingo cards for High Vive, and I promise you, the free space, the center, is gonna be magical asking for
bullet trains.
Yeah. Magical plus bullet trains equals free square. And I'm here for it. I love it every single time. It's become a staple of my casting. It's like bullet trains. All right, somewhere magical is smiling.
It's so sad that Magical missed out on the most destructive bullet train round in Abyssal Cup 2. Like that's painful. Honestly, I think there was no less than 8 bullet train kills across that one game. It's one of the best storm shifts for a reason. It catches everyone out.
Not one of, correction, not one of the best.
Okay. I would say cross country has
no, that's S.
Cross country is amazing for just regular end games. I think cross country it forces people to move, it forces people to rotate. Definitely puts a big spotlight on what powers do you have, how's your macro. But bullet trains is good for chaos. I agree.
Okay. I've now got it in my mind that I want there to just be switches on the train where you can go and you can pay like 500 gold. Flip the switch and change the direction of the bullet.
500 gold seems very cheap to be able to.
I want it to be cheap. I want it to happen more often.
See, like 5,000, but
no, that's too much.
That's a very expensive. Like, we need to do this for a reason.
All right, let's meet in the middle at 550.
You drive a hard bargain, you've got a deal.
All right, so
an alternate would also be. And this is another idea that I don't know how much. I don't know if this would be better or worse, but like mirror universe storm shifts. So I mean, that's kind of where the idea of maybe you could change like the direction of the bullet train, so you have sort of like reverse bullet train where it goes the other way. It goes.
Oh, it's like Mario Kart maps.
Oh yeah.
But you also have something like outer glider engines, I like to call it, where there is no glider fuel. You have to rely solely on your shifts, which would be a great way to train new players, by the way, because they still don't know not to open their glider most of the time. But it'd be very cool.
No, I kind of like that too, because now you have to be more cognizant of your position on the map as well, and you have to look for areas where you can dash a lot easier. Some hunters are going to have an easier time getting over larger parts of the abyss than others. So you're going to have to then take that into consideration with how you move with the circle, and you're going to know there's going to be that funnel point even more so for more fights. Okay, I'm here.
You also have like
emergency platform is king.
Yeah, no, emergency platform stonks would be way up in that meta. You have
Yeah.
anti-twisters, so instead of getting propelled up into the air, they become mini slow zones. It pushes you into the ground. And so instead of using it to further your movement as you rotate around the map, instead you are actively trying to avoid them in fights, because the moment you step into them, it like slows you by 75% or something.
Okay, I was thinking another one where you have like weird shapes for circles, like especially in endgame. So instead of an actual circle, it becomes oblonged. So now you have
like a different yeah, okay.
I like that.
So you have like now it's like an oval shape that starts like condensing on you, so you
Like
can
a
actually
diamond
have like
shape or something.
the
That's
diamond
or
shape,
like a star shape, like
a
kind
star
of thing.
shape,
Yeah.
a triangle.
Man.
You know what? You could just have these weird shapes for them that then like start. You have new things that you have to play with instead of just nice. Oh, it's a nice circle. It's like no, now there's like little pockets that you can hide out.
I like how
Okay,
this. Go on.
I was gonna say, hear me out, because what you said made me think of the Mario Kart tracks. It's just the mirror version.
Yes.
What if there was a storm shift that mirrored the entire map?
Oh,
I
So
don't know
people
if
who are
that's possible.
I feel like I feel like that might be too much.
That would
that's
be
a lot.
audacious. Yeah,
That's a
but
lot.
just imagine how like the veteran players would get so thrown off, because it's like there should be something here.
Yeah.
That one might be a little too hairy and audacious.
I got a new one for you.
I don't know
I
that.
just
I
get-
think they might have to recreate the entire map to be able to do that. I don't think it's as easy as just hit the flip on canvas.
Horizontal
or
flip.
something.
Yeah, You're
Here's
right.
one for you. Moving hearts. So no matter where the circle is, the heart will now be at the center of that circle.
Ooh, I quite like that.
That's another one. You know,
God, imagine
How would that
when-
interact with 2 ATP? Sorry. keep
Imagine how that would
just once
interact
it
with-
shifts and like collapses, then the heart will respawn right in the middle.
That'd be
So you can-
horrifying though, because imagine when you switch over to day and the heart teleports.
Yeah, it's
Imagine
gonna
if
happen.
you just get.
awesome.
Imagine if you just get caught in that.
Don't be in the
Just get
center
heart
of the circle. Learn.
I love how
How
this
clever.
like talk about how this is the tip of the iceberg. Will people be patient? Just turned into Storm Shift talk, and I'm actually all about it because
I
there's some
love
awesome
storm
ideas.
shifts.
Storm Shifts are
Like,
great.
Everybody.
saying-
oh,
Are you?
I'm sorry. I was gonna say everybody see like the popular opinion is always like eyes on what's the next hunter. I want another hunter. Besides like buffs, nerfs, it's always hunters. I like new storm shifts, new powers. This is exciting because this opens up the game even more. So like I'm all about storm shift talk. I think that's great. Magical, you had a note?
Yes, going back to the bullet trains, because that's more important for Storm
course.
Shift on anything
Yeah.
else, is you gotta make sure if you're gonna do any Storm Shift changes, you make bullet trains faster, you add another one, and then anytime they kill someone, they go slightly faster too. And,
Yeah.
you know, just if we're gonna go with this, and I'm gonna keep pitching this, and this is gonna become the bingo card, can we just make it so that every time the bullet train gets killed, it's just me screaming all aboard, just going, all aboard!
But it takes over like, there are 4 teams remaining. Just every team has to hear it. It's like, ooh.
I know
Someone
some
died to
people have
trade.
expressed interest in like voice packs, which listen,
I
no
just want it
slight
for the
at
bullet
all
train,
on our
that's it.
wonderful announcer in game. I think she does a
Oh, she's great.
phenomenal job. I do like the idea of voice packs if
Look,
the game is successful and if we start having events where it would be worth having those voice packs, because I mean, to be fair, there are emote packs with like Tyler
Sure.
1 and stuff like that, so I don't think it's out of the question personally.
don't even want a voice pack. I just want to be the train conductor.
I need 2 seconds.
I-
I'm so sorry.
I
No,
need
you're
it. This is that will be my full-time job is as train conductor.
Mm.
That's it.
That's
I
it.
will drive the train and make it go faster to hit more people.
Yo, now Twin A is gone. What a nice guy.
Yeah, he's really
What a
nice guy.
really lovely dude. You know, the guy continues to say sorry for absolutely nothing sometimes. The guy is like, oh, I'm just another streamer. Oh, look at me. I'm Twin A. I'm a super heroic firefighter. I'm just a normal guy.
He is a wonderful person though, and such
He's
a
a lovely
sweetheart,
person.
and always is so complimentary towards everyone. And it's just like, Twin, you're just as amazing as a person. Please, it's like He's like, "Oh, I don't deserve to be around people like this." It's like, "Shut up, Twin. You're a nice guy.
And
Stop it."
We're going to find out if Twin A watches High Vive, because this part's going into the podcast. And it's not going to be, because you have like the little sections with the time codes and whatnot that you can put in the description. I am not going to time code this. This is going to be part of the, there is going to be, hey, this is the tip of the iceberg. And I am going to note the Storm Shift talk as a different section, because it is a different section. And this is going to be part of the Storm Shift section, so that Twin won't know that anything's up until he actually reads, or until he actually listens, sorry, to the podcast. Y'all who are here listening to this moment,
Don't comment this. Don't comment this. You know,
don't comment. Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
And if you agree with us, comment something like that more bullet trains. That's how we'll know.
that's how we'll know. Not that Magical is talking about bullet trains every single episode, but that's how
Until
we'll
it
know
happens,
that
I will.
Twin A is a great guy.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who wants that. I'm the only one who wants bullet trains to go faster. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure no one else wants, like, at least to the degree that I want, and to the ferocity that I keep advocating for this.
Your passion for... Go on.
Would that bog down the game, though?
No, I don't care.
No, I don't believe it. No. And I don't think you're alone.
Shot.
I think that everyone is on board, pun very much intended, with the magical bullet train propaganda. I think that we're all here for it, and we're really excited to see more in the way of map development, maybe new maps, maybe new storm shifts, but I think that there is a time and a place for that, and that will be if SUPERVIVE is successful, which is a good segue into our final major topic of today's podcast. And it's one which has caused a bit of a disturbance, really. It's worth saying, and not in a I can't believe Theorycraft doesn't know how to balance their own game. What on earth is Theorycraft doing perspective, but actually a hold up. What's Riot Games doing? What's the dog doing? Right? What's the dog doing? So we had a leak from Skin Spotlight, a very well-known leak creator. Data mines, grabs, like general showcases of the skins, hence the name, Skin Spotlights. But he was able to determine, first and foremost, news that I think is well overdue. I can't believe that this wasn't a consideration earlier. That WASD is being introduced to League of Legends. Thank you, Riot Games. I know that this isn't a League podcast. I much preferred Wild Rift out of the two because of the control scheme alone. I thought point and click was really counterintuitive to a multiplayer game. In Baldur's Gate 3, sure, I absolutely love it. In a multiplayer game where that stuff matters, and when I am new to the game, no wonder new players don't want to play anymore because it is super archaic. WASD should bring a lot of players to that game back, although there are, of course, deeper problems with League of Legends that Riot definitely have to address. Which brings us on to Monarch. Now, Monarch is what we believe to be, no official confirmation as of yet, but what we believe to be a game mode akin to what you might see in your ARAMs or in some of your limited time game modes that have appeared in League of Legends over the years, where it will be, for want of a better term, a battle royale. Royal, of course, alluding to Monarch. And it's caused a bit of a stir, because understandably, people who are fans of SUPERVIVE are looking at one of the most important games in the history of the industry, making something that could take away from the SUPERVIVE player base. Now, I don't want to be speaking too long necessarily, but I'll try and condense my initial thoughts just to start off this discussion, because I think it is a discussion worth having. We were talking with Major before the podcast. It will be a touchy subject to some. First and foremost, Riot Games, in my mind, has always been a company that is very stagnant. It will not move unless it has good reason to. And so the fact that they are now looking, of all times, at anything related to Battle Royale is the single biggest compliment that SUPERVIVE could ever get because they've seen something in SUPERVIVE or in the wider Battle Royale genre, and it can't be recent or it can't be old Battle Royale because stuff like Apex and Fortnite, all that's already happened. So it's got to be something recent. And given the pedigree of Theorycraft, they've looked at something like SUPERVIVE and thought, hold on a second, they're onto something here. I also want to mention a couple of people in the Discord, the likes of Mika Kani and Omnipresent Oatmeal, who were having a discussion. It was really interesting just peek in and see them talking about knowledge of maybe 2 to 3 products currently under NDA. Again, I can't personally say whether that's true or not. I'm just basing this off the conversation. But they say that there are 2 to 3 products currently under NDA that have not been released to public knowledge that are going to be following a similar route to SUPERVIVE, a MO Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
SUPERVIVE is at the front of the queue. There is no way that any of those NDA games are getting released immediately unless they do an all-timer first and just hot drop the game immediately with no prior marketing. And certainly the fact that this has been data mined from League of Legends with a code name suggests to me that it will not be releasing before SUPERVIVE. End of summer, of course. I think we're looking at July, August based on when the Battle Pass ends. Mm-hmm. And so, although it can be very scary on the face of it, that there will, at least for a limited time, be a League of Legends Battle Royale, SUPERVIVE is still in the prime seat. They're driving the plane, and it's up to them to make sure that they nail the landing of 1.0 and grab that initial player base that will be loyal to SUPERVIVE no matter what comes over the horizon. Gents, your thoughts?
Okay, so as someone who has worked for Riot and who has been part of League of Legends for many years, it's like this is one of those things that I see as a reactionary thing from Riot, knowing how they are. I think the WASD kind of control scheme goes more to what you were talking about, less to do with them looking towards the Battle Royale and more that people have been asking for this for a while, and it's their reaction towards how people finally have been getting pushback. They haven't been having numbers grow from a lot of their player base for some time, while Wild Rift has continued to grow. League of Legends itself has not. So that's much more that. But going into the Monarch kind of thing, it is definitely a compliment towards Theorycraft and SUPERVIVE, that it's now these industries that have been so stagnant kind of look at that as like this game changer, where back in the day, it was Battle Right. And a lot of people kind of just let that sweep under the rug, right? Because they looked at that as more of something that had been built as a MOBA, trying to then capitalize on the Battle Royale hype that had been around, as opposed to what SUPERVIVE is, which has always been about being a MOBA Battle Royale. That has always had that identity at its core. It's never been something trying to adapt one style of play to another. And that's where I think is going to be the biggest problem for Riot when it comes to League of Legends Monarch, is they are going the Battle Right kind of path towards it. They are a MOBA that is then trying to see if they can capitalize on the SUPERVIVE hype of the MOBA Battle Royale that they've always been intended to. And their game system does not complement the style of Battle Royale that we see when it comes to something like SUPERVIVE. They will have to fundamentally change a lot of how the game plays in order to make that work, at least in a way that will be fun and interesting. Like, I remember, like, I know a lot of people have their rose tinted glasses on when it comes to Battle Right, and I'm going to get some flack from this. People are going to be like, no, you just didn't understand. I played the Battle Right Battle Royale. It was okay. It was entertaining, but it was not this. There's a reason it didn't succeed. If it was this amazing thing, it would still be around. I'm sorry, everybody. It's like, I know it is part of that fact that they were late on the Battle Royale. They were late on adapting the MOBA to the Battle Royale, and it was a very innovative gameplay that they were trying to implement. But it was because it was a MOBA trying to then capitalize on Battle Royale, as opposed to being a MOBA that was always going to be a Battle Royale. And that's why, to me, I always thought it was fun. It was entertaining for a game or two, but it got kind of boring. It never had that thing that spark that kept me in the game like SUPERVIVE has, where it's constantly kept me going back to the game, where I'm like, I lose the game, I'm like, run it back. Let's get back into this. It reminds me a lot of how League of Legends was to me back in 2011, 2012, where I was grinding that game all the time. And that's when I loved it the most, was way back then. That's how I feel about SUPERVIVE now. And that's why I said I know I'm gonna upset some people when it comes to Battle Right. It wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't this amazing thing that a lot of people put on a pedestal as being this like upper echelon of games that needed to be really revered and needed to be like respected in that way. It was good, but if it was that good, it would have survived for longer. And so I look at how League of Legends is going with Monarch, and I'm afraid that that's how it's going to be. It will be another Nexus Splits. And for those that aren't a part of League of Legends and don't know that as well, I liked Nexus Splits. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was this very creative game mode where it was meant to be more of that for fun style of game that you could play really quickly, but you would get burned out pretty quick on it because that's not what the game was intended for. Earth, same kind of thing. Love Earth to death. One of my favorite game modes. But after a while, you get burned out because people then start either taking it a little bit too seriously or the game just was never meant to run in that way. There's a reason why League of Legends itself has always been the way that it has and has been so stagnant, because it's worked in the past. So why, if it ain't broke, don't fix. The only reason Riot's now kind of trying to fix some things is because they're clearly seeing that it is broke in the current game state of things. It's no longer like how it once was. People don't really like the clicking, as you talked about, where it was that kind of stuff, especially for a multiplayer. They like the WASD. That has been around for ages for a reason, because it's been very intuitive. So it makes sense for that. I don't personally see that League of Legends Monarch is much more than a reactionary thing that is meant to be a limited time kind of venture.
All right.
Hey, Twitty, are you going to make enemies of the 3 people who still like Battle Right? That's really harsh.
I love you, Battle
I know
Right.
the Battle Right was very much well loved.
So
it's a joke. It's comedy.
Here's the craziest thing. I didn't know what Battle Right was until after I started playing SUPERVIVE, and I heard people on Reddit say like, this. Again, my background comes more from like fighting games, Smash Bros, things like that. And when it comes to Monarch, I just have a question. Wasn't Kog'Maw called the Monarch?
No, that's a skin. He has a skin.
Oh, he has a skin.
He's got a skin where he turns into a beautiful butterfly.
Oh, that was it. I was like, I'm correlating these together, and I don't remember why. I've been out for a minute. So I saw they said something like 1v5. What if it's just like you have to fight a giant Kog'Maw? And
that would be fun.
That would be fun.
So I'm calling my shot there. I think that's one of the game modes, but realistically, Magical, you've completely, like, you've said what I was going to say, but so much more eloquently and better. So I'm just going to piggyback off of you and say, like, yes, I think it's reactionary. I think it will be a temporary game mode such as Earth, because as we've seen with 2XKO, their dive into a fighting game, like, leaked early, lots of play tests. It takes a while to make a good fleshed out game. So I definitely don't believe that they're going to just magically drop a battle royale out of nowhere. We're going to hear more about it. It's got to be just a little side, maybe even just test the waters to be like, is this something we can do in the future? And now for how it can affect SUPERVIVE. It's been a while since I've had to use my business degree, but I'm always reminded in these moments of what's called a SWOT analysis. SWOT. Ooh. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. This is something that every major business has done, usually at least annually, to figure out, are they going in the right direction? What's good? What's bad? It's your pros and cons in the business world. There's a really good chance Theorycraft has done this and done this a lot. And so when it comes to something like this, that's how I compare it, is like, all right, what is SUPERVIVE's strengths? What are their weaknesses in the face of this? Strengths being Reliq, as you said, they're at the forefront. They're already rushing to the finish line of release. In this case, SUPERVIVE is a common enough name that at the very least, if somebody's like, oh, I like the idea of this, there's going to be somebody within the circle on the Reddit thread, whatever, that says, SUPERVIVE, which like that's their it helps that it's already becoming a name in this niche genre. Their weakness is that Theorycraft is a small company at the end of the day. We oftentimes forget because they've put out such quality product that it's like it takes them a while. That's why they can't focus on arena. That's why they can't be churning out new hunters. It's taking everybody working together in this small company to have their heads down and focus on 1.0. And ultimately, unfortunately, that is a weakness because they can't compete if larger AAA studios start trying to make something similar. Skipping opportunities, going to threats. The threat obviously is that Riot has the Riot buff. They're a big studio. They're practically a household name. Even if you're not a gamer, you know about League of Legends. So if they wanted to actually make something like this, they have the base to do so. The opportunity, though, is just that. If this is, in fact, a League of Legends, like, attempt at a battle royale in the same style of Earth or, oh my gosh,
Nexus Splits.
Like, Nexus Splits, thank you. If it's something like that, what that's going to do is introduce the concept to League players that didn't know it was a concept. And they'll try it and be like, this is okay, but what if it was done better? And there's that one person saying, SUPERVIVE. So in its own backwards way, there is a chance that this actually brings players to SUPERVIVE. Now, is that like as optimistic gets? Yes, and I acknowledge that. I'm not saying this is how it's going to happen, but it's an opportunity that Theorycraft may coincidentally get to capitalize on if they fix the problems with the game right now so that when new players come over, they don't want to leave and go back to the toxicity that comes with League of Legends. So
wait, to interrupt you. I don't know why, but my brain, when you said like, there's that one guy saying SUPERVIVE, I just have a picture of like myself in the background with the train whistle, and you just hear a really slight me whispering, SUPERVIVE.
So
Yo, kids. Do you want some like you open up like the big black jacket and it's like, yo, I got some SUPERVIVEs for you.
You like your oath? I got your oath right here. Oh, you a Caitlyn guy? Check out this shrike.
Yo, you want the big hand? I got you some Kingpin. You want the snipes? I got you Shrike. You know, it's just
you like memes? Check here's 160 days of memes for you to backtrack.
Opens up the suitcase, which in the suitcase is also a laptop of the subreddit with Twin One's meme threads. Like,
yes.
Shout out to my brother. He works hard on those. Although I send him some on
he got
occasion.
200, right?
he's done a lot of memes.
I think he's hit 1,000 memes posted already.
I'm talking about like days. How many days?
Oh, it's at like 170 now. Let's check.
No, 205.
Oh, was it 200 days that he hit recently?
Oh, he did hit 200 days.
So today is 211.
That's right. Man, I'm a horrible twin brother. I should have kept up with this.
Stop
Oh,
it.
but he posted one of mine. Yay. because like so before I get back into Monarch, so my brother recently made it public that he and his wife welcomed their daughter into this world.
Yes, congratulations.
On May 1st. Yay. And they have a 5-year-old, but now this daughter, he works full time and he's raising the family and all that. He's very busy. So I'm like, let me help you a little more. And I try to send him like a couple memes here and there just to like ease the burden. I'm doing my part. So when I open it up and see it's one of mine, I'm like, aw, yay, I'm helping. But
you know, one of these days, somebody is going to say Twin A, that Twin A guy, nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
One day it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I've seen nicer twins, but such as Twin One. No,
oh, okay. That's the only time I'm ever going to allow you to get away with that.
Haha. I had to pull the rug out from under you or like trip you up, break the ankles. I don't know. I'm tired. I can't think of expressions. But anyways, to go all the ways back, should we as SUPERVIVE fans and hopefuls be worried. Of course, the fear is going to be there. It's Riot. They've done a good job up to this point. It's why they've been able to. I mean, okay. Asterisks. Everybody makes mistakes. There's highs and lows. We all know. But I meant there's a reason why there's still like League of Legends is still. We'll call it successful. There's a reason they're still here and around. They have the potential. Beach party skins. Yeah. Obviously. But if it's something that they want to dive into, they will be a major contender. But this could also definitely work to bring new people to SUPERVIVE if everything is handled correctly. If the path to victory is paved out in a way that Theorycraft can find, this could be honestly big. And I am hopeful that that's what it leads to. So
it is an opportunity until it becomes a threat. And you
yes.
are hoping that with that opportunity, you take yourself into a position of power so you can deal with the threat as best as possible. I think it is certainly no small thing that Necrit actually didn't have to mention SUPERVIVE when he was covering the topic himself. He did. And I copium me all you like. I really do think people underestimate that people have just forgotten about SUPERVIVE or tried open beta, decided they didn't want to playtest, and they will be coming back for 1.0. Whether it survives beyond that is a total coin flip scenario. And it's even more of a coin flip from the outside looking in because a lot of people won't be able to see what Theorycraft is making. Only those within the NDA test will be able to see, and they're under NDA. So they are under no misconceptions about the fact that they will not be able to speak with others about it. And that's part of the fun, really. We're all on this journey together, and we certainly hope that Theorycraft have identified a subgenre which hasn't had its pop-off moment, but will do. And you would think that it will do if Riot Games is considering a game mode. If there are other NDA'd products that are apparently good, that are going to be entering the market as direct competitors to SUPERVIVE, we could have an entirely new League Dota rivalry in the making. We just don't know. It could include SUPERVIVE. It could include League. It could include neither. That's part of the fun of the industry.
True.
And that just about does it, folks. It's been a really, really a lot more technical and an insightful podcast. I will say I think we've had our smartest moment of High Vive so far with Twin A casually whipping out the business degree and actually dropping really cool business law on us. Thank you.
I thought you were going to talk about what Magical said prior to that.
No. It collectively increases all of our intelligence as a party. So thank you very much for adding your degree to reasons why you should watch High Vive and why you should subscribe for more. There is more content on the way, of course. In terms of our next podcast, I think you will be seeing us next in June, where we don't know, like, it'll either, I mean, the podcast itself will be out after Abyssal Cup. And so I'm kind of thinking, actually, I know that we were talking about, because we usually would record on the weekend, and it is Abyssal Cup weekend. I think we can I think we might move it to the Monday, potentially recording-wise.
I was about to say June 1st,
so that we can at least
the finals,
so we can at least review the Abyssal Cup. And then the Abyssal Cup preview will be a side vive, of which I will also say that I am looking to get a Theorycraft person in for a side vive interview. Lots more content on the way. But also be sure to follow these lovely gents on their individual platforms, Man Magical and Twin A. Final thoughts, lads, before we head off into the ether.
Bullet trains.
Twin A?
I actually just want to give two different quick shout outs, and one was already brought up. The first I will say is Theorycraft's marketing, even though everybody's like, it needs more marketing, the person in charge of like the Instagram posts and everything is just on one recently, and I'm here for it. The Kingpin selfie in the mirror.
Yes, yeah.
Joe SUPERVIVE. That's not my name. It's like,
not my name.
It's good. Like, so credit to you.
I want them to make one of that from me. I would be so happy.
I know.
I still want a mass-produced Shiny Joe head t-shirt. Like, Tom Kicker's got one. Where is my ability to buy a Joe SUPERVIVE shirt? Because I will.
Yeah, me too.
I, okay. I'm here for it. I've got a coffee mug. I want to.
Bro, they're
make this a
sending you
SUPERVIVE
stuff.
room. Oh, the coffee mug I had to buy. I don't think they made it, but
Sugarcraft over here.
they, as I said, they sent me the brightest beanie in the world. Back in July. So
the whole box art thing.
The box art. Multiple box arts for the charity stream that I've shipped out to people. So like I support, like, again, I've been on my soapbox about how I will support this company until like I physically can't, like until the wheels fall off. But the other shout out I want to give is Umbrella content creators, but a great funnel to find content creators via Zodag. Zodag, hi Zodag, big fan.
Oh hi.
You
Oh hi.
Oh, hi. Oh,
There it is.
that was good.
Good.
But it's so easy to go into Zodag videos and just get enjoyment. But I personally have gone in and it's like, oh, I need to follow this person. Oh my God, I love it. Let's watch 5 minutes. They're great. They're positive. Positive people follow. So watch those Zodag videos and support SUPERVIVE content creators. Like, we're all wondering, will this game be successful? Will it take off? Let's do our parts and support those who are trying to lift this game up. It's one of those like, oh, the numbers, we're worried about the numbers. Be a part of the numbers. Don't doom and gloom it. Go play, go have fun, go support people that make content for it. So shout outs to Zodag for supporting so many content creators by making compilations like you do. I freaking love them.
And I will add one final thing onto there, which I cannot believe it skimmed over my mind when we were talking about Super Senseis. If you want something a little more whimsical with a bit of comedy, we do, of course, have to talk about Major Pleasure, who himself is making some of the funniest videos out there that are also educational. I know he's on a bit of a content break and then he takes a little longer. Like, his videos take a while to cook. They are worth it. So go and check out.
He works really hard on those.
They are my favorite SUPERVIVE content out right now. Like, and it's not even close.
It's like it's one of those perfect ones to like learn about the game while also being like laughing at a lot of it. Where it's like it's very funny, very entertaining, but you will learn about the game a lot. So definitely check out Major Pleasure.
Major Pleasure on Twitter, Major Pleasure on YouTube. I don't believe he Twitch streams, so in that case, it's a YouTube endeavor that you do want to check out his Endeavor series. That's the whole thing that he's known for. And of course, you can check him out as a special guest sometimes here on High Vibe, your podcast for everything super. Thank you, folks. That's episode 3. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.